What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 402. Shout out to Michael Jackson, man. Been bumping that, you rock my world, you know you did. Shout out to Chris Tucker. He killed that shit too. That Michael Jackson album, first off, is his last album that he made, Invincible, when he was alive. And I feel like it didn't get the proper love and respect, man. That album was pretty fucking good. I need to rank Michael Jackson's albums. That's what I got to do. Speaking of Michael Jackson, I'm going to go check out that Michael movie. I can't wait to check it out. It comes out a day after my birthday. So my birthday is April 23rd. It comes out April 24th. So I can't wait to check it out, man. That's probably how I'm going to spend my birthday gift to myself, is to go watch that movie. But yeah, I was just listening to the album. I was like, I was like, Shimon. I was just fucking with the album, bro. I love Michael Jackson, man. Shout out to him, man. A genius musically. Speaking of someone who I view in the GOAT status like Michael Jackson, 50. I want to start out with 50 Cent immediately with the No One Told Us remix. Yes, it came out, and I know I'm going to get flack, and people, oh, Quake, you said it was Eminem, you said this, you said that. Well, this is why I don't like to put information out there before it actually comes out. I was told, and here's the thing, there's one person that can confirm I know what I'm talking about. And even with this Fetty Wap thing, I already knew ahead before it was going to come out. Like before the Fetty Wap remix of No One Told Us was coming out, I had tweeted it hours before, and I had DM'd someone on Twitter who the artist is hours before it came out. I was told there was a pivot, and the reason why there was a pivot is because I don't want to fucking say too much. Basically, without saying too much, I don't want to say, every detail, but, Eminem has his schedule of what he wants to release, his albums, his projects, his plans. And then 50 had his. Basically, one person wanted to release immediately and was like, let's go, let's get this shit going. The other person was more hesitant and had a plan set out. I don't want to put who. I'll let you guys figure that out. But one person had this, I can't say too much. But one person has this plan where, I can't even say this because I don't want to. Basically, there's an R&B artist, right? Every time they drop an album, people complain about one thing about this artist, about this R&B artist's album. And this R&B artist is huge. I was about to say something else, but that would have gave it away. But basically, this is what this artist wants to do. Wants to copy that R&B artist's style of releasing a project. Without me saying what it's going to be, but, just think of a huge R&B artist and think of an R&B artist that drops music consistently and what that R&B artist gets flack for when they drop an album. There's only a few of them, so it's pretty easy to tell. But basically, with these things, and here's what you guys got to remember, is with these rumors, with these things that I ever mention on this podcast, it's never set in stone. And this is why I hate saying it, because it's never set in stone. This is stuff that's going on behind the scenes that, they have an idea of to do, or they've already done it, but then they don't push the trigger or pull the trigger or push the button, whatever. Push the goddamn button. Shout out to Chris Tucker, Rush Hour, favorite movie. But that basically the record happened. The record is there. Eminem 50, No One Told Us. But they pivoted for reasons, various reasons. That happens. Right? Here's a good example. Actually, good example of both 50 and Eminem. 50 in 2004 had planned on releasing an album in 2004. I bet you guys didn't know this. It was called A Hustler's Ambition. That was going to be his second album. It was going to be a very dark album. It never happened. He pivoted. Instead, he went with The Massacre, probably because Banks and Buck were doing their thing and he didn't want to outshine them. I don't know what the reason is, but had that news come out at the time, whoever would have reported at the time would have been looked at as a liar. But behind the scenes, shit pivots. The same thing happened to Eminem. He had that King Mathers album that's supposed to come out in 2006, 2007. Got into a drug problem. The whole shit pivoted. All of a sudden, we get Relapse. And even with Relapse, there's supposed to be Relapse 2 right after that. But he pivoted. He changed it to Recovery. So that happens behind the scenes where you get information. Hey, this is, because my sources are, I don't want to say this, but just know that they're legit. And, shit changes, behind the scenes, man. It's not going to go exactly the way I say it's going to go all the time. I just know that my sources are like 80 to 90% correct. They usually know what the fuck they're talking about. And if something happens, it was for a major decision. If like what I say doesn't happen, it's because something pivoted, something changed. I can't say too much. I don't want to say shit because if I say this, all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, this is what's going to happen. But just know that with that Eminem, with Eminem being on that record, there's other people that said it publicly. DJ Who Kid was actually one of them. Sorry to throw DJ Who Kid under the bus, but some people noticed that Who Kid said that Eminem's on that record. And Who Kid would know. He's on Shade 45. He talks with Eminem. He's very close to Paul Rosenberg, as you saw in the interview with Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda. So if he said it, I got my own sources. There's other people who I'm not going to name have said it publicly. It was there. Just, I don't know. 50 decided to pivot with Fetty Wap. And here's my thoughts on the record, first off. Not a fan of it. I like the original version. I don't like Fetty's beat changing that he has on there. I don't like the way Fetty delivers on there. That's no disrespect to Fetty Wap. I just don't think that's not the artist to put on that song, is basically what I'm saying. I think 50 did it just to give Fetty kind of love for being released from prison. And, they always been cool, before he got locked up. So he just kind of was like, yo, let me put him on my record. You know what I would like to see? 50 and Fetty Wap in 2015. When 50 was doing the Kanan tape and doing that run, that would have been cool. Because Fetty was on a run. He was hot as an artist. Like, why not do music with him then? Right now, it's like, yeah, he dropped an album, but it's a pretty decent. I actually listened to the album for the most part. It's pretty decent. But I mean, nobody's sitting here and been like, nobody when people heard that No One Told Us record, nobody in their mind was like, yeah, Fetty Wap would be great on the song. Like, that's the one thing that I wish, 50's team, or it's probably just solely 50's decision. But I would have been like, nah, man, no Fetty Wap. Like, anybody but Fetty Wap. Like, shit, put fucking Gunna on the record. I don't know. Put somebody else on the record, not Fetty Wap. Like, there could have been so many different artists on that track that would have blended way well. I'm not saying Gunna would have blended well with it. You probably would have, but I'm just saying there's so many better choices, and that's a disappointing route to go on a record that's actually doing well for you as an artist that hasn't dropped music or an album since 2014. Like, you get momentum on a record independently with barely any effort. You don't throw Fetty Wap on there. You throw somebody that's going to give it more momentum. Shit, put Drake on there if you want. I don't know. Put somebody that's going to amplify it to the next level. And Fetty ain't going to do that. No disrespect to Fetty at all. I fuck with Fetty. I bought his debut album. I bought it, a physical CD. I don't know where it's at. It's probably here or it's upstairs. But I bought that physical CD. Fetty, first off, Trap Queen reminds me of an old girl I was dating in 2015. Every time I hear that record, I think of her, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. But hey, listen, 2015 was Fetty for me all the time. Like, that's all I listened to. And I still got, I still check his music out. I still got much respect for him. But that's not the artist to put on this song. And I don't like the remix. I like the original version. This remix is a one and done for me. I'm not listening to it ever again. But yeah, so that's what we got on the No One Told Us extended version. That's not to say that the Eminem version isn't coming out, because there is I'm not going to say high probability, because who knows, things pivot behind the scenes again, but there's still a chance that record could come out. All I know is it was recorded. It's happened. We just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Eminem's got projects. He's working on projects, not a project, but projects. So that tells you right there. Even Paul himself said it. He's got projects he's working on. So what does that mean? What have I said? 50 and Eminem collab album, a Eminem solo album, a 50 solo album. And, if you're asking me to bet on that, I would bet on that. I would have a great bet on that. Now, I don't know. Is it 100% set in stone? Nothing is. Things pivot behind the scenes. I just gave you guys 2 examples from M and 50 themselves. So we don't know. But yeah, that's it. That record, it's all right. I still like the original version, but hey, I'm seeing different mixed responses. Some people loving it. Some people are like, that's all right. But it is what it is, man. I think 50 had something there that he could have really worked with and done with a better artist. Shit, I would have liked the 50 verse, another 50 verse. That's it. You ain't even got to add another artist. Just put another 50 verse on there, and I would have been happy with it. But yeah, that's his decision. We'll see how the record, if that even adds to the record with radio spins and, all that stuff. And maybe they shoot a video for it. That would be cool at least, So that's my take on it. All right, let's go over some quick news. And Chris Brown and Usher have announced the Raymond and Brown joint tour, which is going to do astronomical numbers. I don't think they're going overseas. I got to actually see this. Let me see. I think they're just going in America, which is a huge missed opportunity. They'll probably add more dates, maybe overseas. But yeah, they're going everywhere, basically in America for the most part. Atlanta has 2 dates of November 7th, November 8th. You know how many bad bitches are going to be out there? I went to a Chris Brown concert because 50 was going to tour with him. I believe this is in 2017. I could be wrong, 2016. So I had bought tickets, me and my brother, because at that time, we had never seen 50 live perform. I know that's a shocker, right? But we used to live in Iowa, so 50 would never stop by Iowa and do shows. Never in a million years. Never has. I think that's one of the places in America that he's never done a show at. I could be wrong, but all I know is 50 never stopped by there. So by the time I moved to Atlanta, it was 2015. So in 2016, 2017, that's when the tour got announced, and we're like, this is our opportunity to see 50 perform live because we hadn't ever seen him. So we bought tickets, and then next thing you know, 50 leaves the Chris Brown tour. So we're just like, fuck it, we'll go. So many bad bitches there. It was ridiculous. It was bitches galore. And I mean, with all due respect when I say this, so many beautiful women. Like, with all due respect, it was insane. It was astronomically ridiculous. Like, that's the place you want to be as a man. If you're a single man and you want to try to holla at girls, that's where you want to be at. So this is probably going to bring out all kinds of ages from 20 years old to 50 years old MILFs out there. So if you're a single man, you're looking to try to find a female or whatever, these are the concerts you go to. But yeah, so they're going to do everything in America, which is really cool. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that. Really, really cool. I hope more artists decide to do collab tours. 50 and Eminem. That'd be really, really awesome. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. Let's go over this. So Wu-Tang Clan. Let's see. Let's actually go over the whole list. So performer category is Wu-Tang Clan. Shout out to them. Round of applause to them. Luther Vandross. Round of applause to him. Sade. Round of applause to her. Phil Collins. Billy Idol. Iron Maiden. Joy Division / New Order. And Oasis. Early Influence Award. I didn't even know that they had these type of... Cecilia Cruz. Fela Kuti. Queen Latifah. MC Light. Graham Parsons. A Musical Excellence Award. Linda Creed, Arif Mardin, Jimmy Miller, and Rick Rubin. But yeah, shout out to all of them for getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame edition, I guess. So shout out to them. I want to see other people on here in hip hop. Would be really cool while they're still alive. But I think the majority of the legends have been inducted in here. There's been only a few that would be really cool to see. Yeah, shout out to everybody that made it. The Game has decided to voice his opinion once again, and he makes basically a statement that a lot of people are making right now because of the report that, well, we'll get into that. First, let's see what Game talked about. The Game recently hopped online to share his hot take on the lasting impact Drake and Kendrick Lamar's beef has had on hip-hop. It's no secret that Drake and Kendrick Lamar's infamous battle had a long-lasting impact. According to The Game, however, that's not necessarily a good thing. Recently, the Compton MC took to Instagram to claim that the genre has suffered as a result of the beef. He says this: "Y'all ain't appreciate one of the greatest. Now the absence and silence has the art form down 50%. His post arrived alongside a screenshot of a recent tweet by Isaac Hayes III, who had a similar take. The Kendrick-Drake beef killed commercial rap music. He wrote, it turned hip-hop into an engagement art form, not a chart-performing one. Everyone showed up, debated, replayed, picked sides, and ran the numbers up. He continued, meanwhile, the Billboard Hot 100 kept moving. The beef fed the masses and killed the charts. So I see why labels are cutting back. Black folks would rather tear down artists from both sides when collaboration is what drives expansion." I think that's a crazy analysis. I think Here's the thing, man. Beef has always been part of hip hop. Like, I don't know. I guess because it's two massive artists beefing with each other. Actually, it could be a mixture of things. So one, social media, obviously. In today's time, a battle is way different versus, when 50 and Ja Rule, or when Nas and Jay-Z, or when Tupac and Biggie. Way different from there, because you didn't have everybody's opinion. Only radio stations, when they called fans, were like, hey, what do you think of who's winning in this? And the person would say, I think this and that. And that's really about it. You didn't really have everyone's opinion and hardcore fans jumping into the debate, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we in hip hop haven't had any new superstars. Like really, really good superstars. We haven't had that. And they've all, and I've said this millions of times on the podcast, the next generation died, basically. Nipsey Hussle, dead. Juice WRLD, dead. Pop Smoke, dead. Lil Peep, dead. XXXTentacion, dead. These were 5 individuals that I felt were going to push the new sound. Yeah, they're gone. So there's really no like the era of Drake, Kendrick, Travis Scott, and all these people that came out around that time. They're still holding on. Like, they're still holding the torch, which is a problem. Meanwhile, country music has a new fucking star every week. So that's a major problem as to why nothing is charting like that. Nothing is having a huge hit record and all this stuff. But yeah, the report came out that basically like Drake was the last one to have a hit in the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 when it comes to hip hop. That's basically the report that came out. And then everybody had their own opinions and said, well, Drake was the one that was holding it down, blah, blah, blah. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? Like, to have only one person hold down the top 10 in hip hop is bad. Like, there needs to be more diversity. And that's the problem, is hip hop hasn't had the new superstars. Because Drake, this long into his career, shouldn't be holding it down. We're in 2020, actually, when he dropped the records, 2025. So you're looking at, 16 years? Like, 16 years into his career, he shouldn't be the one only being in the top 10 in hip hop. There should be various artists. But yeah, hip hop is in a place where the new artists aren't the superstars. They're not maintaining any type of momentum. And the older artists don't deliver music that often. Yeah, that's my take on it. I think too many people are putting weight on Drake and saying like, oh, it's because of Drake, this and this. Yeah, I agree. Drake's always had hits. He's been one of the greatest. But, Game saying this, and a lot of people have been saying kind of different things like this. I disagree. I think Drake, he was a big part in hip-hop being dominant for a while. But you got the baby right now with that Pop That record, whatever it's called, Pop That Thing. That's doing well. It's like climbed up to like, we'll look at it later in the podcast, but it climbed up in the 20s. So just hip-hop records are taking a lot longer to blow up now for whatever reason. I think it's because just hip-hop music isn't that good anymore, man. Let's be honest with ourselves, guys. Like, the music just ain't hitting like that. The last time I liked like a new project from a new artist, someone that was new, not somebody that came out in the 2010s, was Young and Ace. And that was in 2021. Life of Betrayal. That was like the last time from a brand new artist. It was somebody that I like, that wasn't blowing up in the 2010s or didn't blow up in the 2000s, but he blew up in 2020, I believe, is when he started to blow up. And that's it. Like, I really haven't really fucked with a lot of the newer generation. Lil Baby blew up in like late 2010s, so I don't really count him. Same with Gunna and all these other guys. Like 2010s, if you blew up, I don't really count you. But if you started to blow up like in the 2020s and like from 2020 till now, the only artist that I was really fucking with was Young and Ace and Pop Smoke. That's it. And Pop Smoke died. So it's like, okay. And Young and Ace really hasn't dropped anything interesting these past couple of years. So really there isn't, let me actually go through my phone right now. Maybe I'm missing somebody. But anybody that came out in the 2020s till now, man, I'm not really fucking listening to them. I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. Pooh Shiesty, I guess. FDO. That was the record I was listening to. Lil Tecca, though, blew up in like 2019, so I can't really count Lil Tecca. But I listen to a little bit of Lil Tecca. Other than that, man, I don't be listening to these newer guys like that. I really don't. They just don't do it for me musically. I just don't. I don't like. Baby Keem, here's another one. When he dropped his, what's that album, man? Not this one he dropped, the one previously with Family Ties and all that. So I was listening to him. So yeah, there are a few artists, but I think Baby Keem blew up before, like in the late 2010s, if I remember correctly. I remember Drake talking about him in that 2019 interview with Rap Radar. I remember Drake talking about him and actually giving him props. So, I don't know. I guess you can count Baby Keem in the 2020s. I don't know. Maybe. But, it's just, there really isn't, man. And that's the problem. That's why Drake's been, tasked as this, like, oh, he's the last guy in hip hop. He was the one that was carrying it, which is not a good thing. As a Drake fan, it might be a good thing, right? Because it's like, Drake's this dominance and stuff, but it's not a good thing, man. We need new hip hop superstars. We just need hip hop artists making better sounding music, man. The music is just so trash. It's so bland. Like, it can't just be my age. There's no way it's my age. I just refuse to believe it. I think just music in general has just gone down the drain quality-wise. Because every other genre is thriving. You got country music on top of the fucking world. You go to the Billboard Hot 100, they're all over the fucking place. You got K-pop. You got pop music. You got, I think even to a certain extent, rock and roll is starting to make its own little rounds and do its thing. But hip-hop has just been, man, it's been, like, when's the last project I really enjoyed? J. Cole, The Fall Off was all right. I don't know, man. When was the last project I really enjoyed? The Pusha T Clips, which was last year. When did that come out? April 2025? Something like that. So, one project. Yeah, Lloyd Banks dropped something. Yeah, a couple artists dropped some stuff here and there. But overall, it's like, what the fuck, man? You know what's crazy? I was watching, and this is actually just reminding me of it. I was watching a recording of Rap City. It was Ja Rule on Rap City, and it was a full recording. It was recording like every music video that was getting shown while the interview was happening. So it was the full episode. It wasn't just like, there's clips of like artists on Rap City, and it's just their interview parts where they're talking. There's no like music in between. But with this Ja Rule one, there was music in between. I don't know how I ended up in the video, man, but it was just so random. I saw my recommendations. I was like, Rap City, Ja Rule, and it was like a long 1 hour. I was like, I've never seen this. So I clicked on it. Come to find out, the reason why it was an hour long is because music videos were playing in between. But I decided to watch it with the music videos playing in between. And this is in late 2002. There was so much diversity. Like, it was so, like, each artist had their own unique sound. They were delivering their own topic. Like, yeah, we had club records. We had, this and that. But, like, everybody had their own distinct thing. That's what it felt. It was so diverse. It was crazy. Now you look at artists, man, they're all sounding the same topics. Music videos are like just not as great. I don't know, man. I might be sounding old or just sounding like a hater or some shit, but I don't know. You guys talk about it. Like, I want to know what you guys think. Like, music videos just back then had more flavor to them, man. Something was there. I don't know. Something was in the air, man. Around that time. I think it just, in general, I think entertainment peaked in the 90s and 2000s. Like, that's when entertainment like peaked. That's when we were at our best as humans, entertainment wise, from music to movies to TV shows to shit. I was looking at a car show, like the new, when new cars come out from different companies, they were showing a 2003 automobile show in 2003. And like every car manufacturer was releasing like their literal peak cars at that time. Like, it's crazy. Even in car designs, we've like peaked at a certain point. I think we just like, we reached, and the crazy thing is we didn't even realize that we reached a peak at that time. Like, we were just delivering quality stuff. I could be wrong though, man. There's a lot of new cars that came out that actually look pretty cool. But I think just like the Bugatti Veyron got introduced then in that 2003 show, the Audi R8, which is like all classic cars. The Nissan 350Z I saw. The Ferrari, which one, man? I forget which Ferrari, but that Ferrari, like, there was so many fucking cool cars, man. It was like, we just reached a peak as design, as everything. It's very frustrating, but I don't know how I got to this part of the whole conversation, but yeah, man. Actually, I remember. So, yeah, with this Drake thing, hopefully there's like more artists that actually reach the top 10. The Baby's probably going to reach there, which is really cool. At least he's bounced back. So shout out to him. Rose, aka William Roberts, he decided to do an interview with Thoughts and a Coolie, which I've never seen this before, but he decides to do this interview and he gets asked about his beef with Drake. And he basically, reveals like what Drake would have to do in order for their beef to get squashed. And what's funny is Drake, here's the thing, man. Drake should not squash any of the beefs he has because it's clear as day that these guys need Drake more than Drake needs them. Like when Rick Ross's biggest hits come from Drake. So let's go over what Rick Ross said.
It seems as though it didn't seem that deep for you because I feel like you're a rapper's type of rapper. Like, is there any hope in the future for any future collaborations?
Homie got a lot of issues he got to address. I'm going to leave it right there.
Nah, for sure.
Is it any potential of him being a real nigga? He got to decide that. You understand? But he got shit he got to deal with and address. And, hopefully it's a lot of niggas that was watching and learn from it. It was unfortunate for him, but...
Yeah, one thing that went viral was you playing or performing one of the songs and he commented or something. Is that because you're still proud of the music that you still made regardless of what has gone on?
Right. I'm a real nigga, so... and being a real nigga, you never change your past. The music I've created in the past, I could never change. I enjoyed it, and I'ma still enjoy it. Can't no lame nobody having differences make me not enjoy something that I've, was a part of. So that's that. I control what goes on from here on. That's what the boss decides. The shit in the past, that I'ma just enjoy that. And I let my fans enjoy that. And the sad part about it is when I play those records, everybody just be standing and they don't sing his part no more. They like, we not going, and I be like, no, y'all could sing it. Sing the little man part, man. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's when I hit my joint. I like him to sing his part because that's when I can hit my joint and sip my Luke Belair.
That's the response for Rick Ross. What else is he going to say, man? Without Drake, some of the biggest music in his career wouldn't have happened. We know that Ross musically has never been on the level of Drake, never been on the level of Jay-Z, never been on the level of Eminem, Kanye, 50, whoever you can think of on that tier. He's never been on that tier. It just is what it is. Now, you could argue the quality of his music is on that tier, but I'm talking about sales-wise. I'm talking about notoriety. I'm talking about impact globally. He's never been on that. I've seen people argue, Ross has some of the best catalog ever. Hey, that's your opinion. You're allowed to have that opinion. I think Rick Ross's best album is God Forgives, I Don't, which really hurt me because that was around that time when 50 was really declining musically. But here's the thing with me is like good music is good music. Doesn't matter about who's beefing with who. At that time, I think when that came out was 2012, so I was 17 years old. So I wasn't a child about it. Like if you would have had me when I was 12 years old when 50 and Kanye were beefing, then yeah, I was 100% siding with 50. I said F Kanye and anybody else who's beefing with. But as I got older, I was like, dude, I'm gonna enjoy like everybody's music. Like, why do I have to sit with one side and be like, oh fuck this other side's music? It's just so immature and stupid. And people still do that. Unfortunately, grown adults still do that. It's fine to have your favorite in a beef, but because Drake and Kendrick beefs, and let's just say I fuck with Drake's music a little bit more, that doesn't mean I'm going to be like, oh, fuck Kendrick's music. I'm never going to listen to it. That's stupid. You're just depriving yourself of great music from both artists. So I don't do that. I still fuck with, God Forgives, I Don't. That's one of my favorite Rick Ross albums. What's the other mixtape, man, that he dropped? Why am I forgetting it off the top of my head? But he dropped a mixtape. Diddy was all over it, which is crazy to say. Why am I forgetting what man? It had a lot of records, man, on there. Fuck, man. Rich Forever, that mixtape. Why am I forgetting it? Fucking insane mixtape that he dropped. And yeah, I like his first album as well. That's really about it when it comes to like full project albums. Other than that, I like songs from Rick Ross. I don't like full projects. He doesn't have a classic to me. I don't think he ever will have a classic in anybody's eyes. I think, there's fans of his catalogs and people saying that, he makes very great music and all this. That's cool. That's, you know, people's opinions. But if he made that great of music, people would be listening to it daily and people would be streaming it and he would be doing great numbers. Unfortunately, he's never really done that well in numbers, which to me proves that the music isn't as great as some people say it is. With that being said, Drake, on the other hand, doesn't need this guy. Drake should not accept this guy's apology. Drake should keep just ignoring these guys, man, because Ross musically, nobody gives a fuck about his music. He dropped that single with Pharrell, and that shit did nothing. Nobody cares about Rick Ross musically right now. And you know what he does is he takes pot shots at 50 and hopes that 50 responds so he can get some momentum. And 50's been starving him. 50 hasn't addressed him in a long time. And he shouldn't, because as the years have gone on, it's been clear who's won the actual war. Like, you can say, hey, Ross beat him in the battle. Hey, I totally understand. I think he didn't, me personally. But I can understand where people are coming from when they say that. I can totally understand, because as the battle was going on, after the battle, Ross just kind of, in 2010, started to blow up with BMF and then started to blow up with all these other records. And by the way, the definition of blow up versus 50 and Ross is two totally different things. Like, Ross's best performing record was like 50's worst performing track. So there's levels to it. So when 50, had a song go number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100, they looked at it as a flop. But when Ross had a record do, number 25 or whatever the amount, because like if you go to, like, let's just say his chart history, right? Rick Ross's chart history. And you'll see there's records like during that time where people said, oh, Ross blew up after the 50 beef and all this. You'll see that his records didn't really chart that high, but if this was 50 and he did those type of numbers and he charted a number 20, people would say it's a flop. They call I Get Money a flop, and that was like a number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Shit, they call AO Technology a flop, and that was like number 5. So look, around the time when Ross was beefing with 50, he dropped Aston Martin Music. That peaked at number 30. 50's worst record at the time after beefing with Ross, where people said the chart was bad, was My Life. And that peaked, I think was at number 27 or 28, somewhere around there. So it peaked like 2 spots higher than Aston Martin Music. Now, you could argue which song is better. I think it's Aston Martin Music, obviously. But like chart-wise, people were counting that as a flop to 50, but people were praising that of Rick Ross. So that's what I'm saying. There's levels. Like, there's levels to this shit. And Ross, look at this. You look at the charts. Lemon Pepper Freestyle is his highest charting record. And it's not even his. It's Drake's. It's at number 3. Money in the Grave. Number 7 is his highest charting record. His second highest charting record. And that's Drake's song. Drake featuring Rick Ross. I'm the One. I'm on one. Sorry, I'm not. I'm on one. Fuck it, I'm on one. Why do you think that charted at number 10? His third highest charting records, because of Drake and Lil Wayne. So Ross just stood next to what was hot at the time. That's why he seemed to be this bigger. He became a bigger artist after the beef with 50, just because he stood next to people. That's it. The Boss, which is his highest charting song as his own record, like as a lead artist, featuring T-Pain. That's at number 17. So that's his highest charting song, is number 17. So why am I going over all this? Why am I saying all this? Drake should just ignore this guy, just like 50 ignores him. Don't do music with him. He needs you more than you need him. So speaking of 50, Ross also talks about 50 Cent in the interview. And this is what he has to say.
Cease and desist ain't never been nothing we been big on, and lawsuits, shit like that. 50 Cent sued me before. We beat his ass, kicked him to sleep in court, sent him back home. He was poor. When we pulled up his banking accounts, I felt bad for him. I really did. But, you like that? Go ahead and laugh. Look at the camera. Let the camera see it. Hey, let the camera. 50, they laughing at you. Make sure y'all Google that to see what that shit went like. I kicked dog to sleep. But I made my lawyer pull up his finance. it was bad.
Oh, really?
Nah.
How bad
it was bad. They made sure I wouldn't say nothing about it. I can't say no dollar figure, but it was nigga was in an apartment, 2-bedroom. I felt bad for dog. I was like, damn. I know niggas that bought a 2-bedroom just for their puppies and shit.
Guess not.
You gotta hustle hard. You gotta hustle every day.
So you see what I'm talking about? Like, he'll he'll find a way to insert 50 and disrespect him and talk about his money and all this stuff. And what's the sad part is 50 doesn't care to prove him right or wrong, right? If 50 went public with what he's made, like publicly, because just think about it, just do simple math. This is nothing that you have to really look into. This is very, very simple math. So the time they filed bankruptcy was in 2015. Since then, this is simple math. Since then, he sold his stake in effing vodka for $60 million. So just that, and that was in 2017. So that's 2 years after the bankruptcy. So right now, if you search 50 Cent net worth, right, which a lot of people do, they think this is accurate. They think that searching his net worth is going to be 100% accurate, right? That this is exactly what his net worth is. When this is just a guess, because you want to know how I know this is a guess? Because I've actually searched my own net worth online, and it's totally inaccurate. Let's just actually go over my own net worth. So let's see. Diverse mentality net worth. I can't find it on here because the AI shit's taking it over. But let's just go to vidIQ. So this tells you diverse mentality's net worth. It says what I earn monthly off YouTube. It says estimated earnings, right? So it's telling me on YouTube right now. This is just because I haven't done much on YouTube in the past couple of months. My views hasn't been the greatest. So, I can kind of understand where they're coming from with this. But they say on YouTube, I made monthly $468. I would literally be homeless if I made that much monthly off YouTube. That's nowhere near accurate. It's so far off. It is hilarious. You can just laugh at that. That's how far off it is. Now, I'm not a multi-millionaire off YouTube, but I sure as hell don't make $400 a month. If I made $400 a month off YouTube, I would need 2 to 3 jobs just to sustain everything. My car monthly payment is astronomical. I'm not going to say the amount, but I would never be able to own that car if I made $400 a month off YouTube. So I'm saying this to say, this shit is so inaccurate. It is hilarious. So when people bring up net worths, I have a little bit of, I guess not experience, but I could speak a little bit on it because I've seen it. People put my net worth online. I remember a website. I don't know why it's not popping up, but there was a website that would tell YouTubers' net worth, and they had mine at 200 and something thousand, which is hilarious. Which I was laughing my ass off because I was like, that's so inaccurate. It's funny. I can't say. I don't want to say. But I got offered in 2021. I think it was. I got offered 7 figures to sell my company. 7 figures, which is anywhere from $1 million to $9,999,000. That's 7 figures. Right? And your net worth is supposed to be everything that you own. What's the value of it? So if that's what my company at that time in 2021 was offered, 7 figures, I'm not going to say that exact number, then clearly that net worth is 100% off. Nowhere near 200,000. If you were to count, let's just say I got offered $1 million. I'm not going to say the number, but let's just say it was $1 million. That's exactly 7 figures. Let's say it was $1 million. My net worth would say at least $1 million on there if that was accurate, right? But this is my point. It's not accurate. So when people bring up net worths and say, oh, 50 is only 30 million, you guys have no idea. I wish 50, but 50 doesn't do this because of the bankruptcy. He doesn't want people suing him more, so he keeps his net worth private now. But 50's worth, I'm willing to bet, anywhere from 600 million to almost $1 billion. That's where I'm willing to bet he's around. I know it's a kind of a huge, I guess, difference, but he's worth over 500 million, 100%. Because think about this, like I was going over the years, right? 2017, effing vodka sold for 60 million. And that's what his percentage was. That's what he got in his pocket. So $60 million. In 2018, he signs a $150 million Stars deal. Now, we don't know what he got into his pocket. We don't know if it was just a budget that was set out and he pockets this amount, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say out of that, he only gets, let's just say for easy math, 40 million out of that. There is 100, just in those 2 deals, there is $110 million. 100 million to 110 million. Just in those 2 publicly traded, publicly executed deals. Just in those 2 years. And yet his net worth online is like 30 million if you were to Google it. Make that make sense in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't. Look at his tour, his Final Lap tour. He generated $103 million off his tour. Oh, but Quake, he doesn't pocket all that. Okay, let's just say he pocketed 30 million. Let's just say, which is, he definitely pocketed at least 50 to 60 million out of that. I'm willing to bet. But let's just say 30 million. Let's just go on the low end, 30 million. So if he can make 30 million in 1 year, how is his net worth 30 million? That makes no sense at all. If you can generate 30, like, just like my personal example, right? I got offered 7 figures for a company because they saw I could I didn't generate 7 figures a year, but they saw like, hey, if we buy this company, it can definitely generate this amount and amount. This basically, you're getting the money up front. You're selling the company. You're getting your, let's just say $1 million, whatever amount of money that they're offering me. I'm not going to say the number, but whatever the amount of money. And they know that they can make that back. So imagine with 50, if his net worth, if he's making 30 million off just one tour 1 year, easy, at the minimum, by the way, then why would his net worth, like he can bring in more than that, obviously. He brought in 103 million. So his net worth would be at least what he can bring in that year, at least. You'd be at least worth 103 million, at least, minimum, just based off that tour alone. But we're not counting all these other deals. Hulu just offered insane money. We're not counting anything else. So when people throw the net worth thing, I always laugh because I'm just like, there's so many factors in it. And we're nobody's accountant. We don't know what Rick Ross's net worth is. It could be 100 million. It could be 700 million. It could be $1 billion. He could be a billionaire. I don't know. I have no idea. We don't have his books. We don't know. We don't have 50's books. Ross is saying he has his books and he's, oh, yeah, I seen he just does that to troll. But 50 doesn't have stuff in his name, and you shouldn't. Personally, I think I think I'm broke, actually, in my name. Yeah, I'm genuinely broke. I don't make, like, nothing in my name. So, yeah, I'm broke. Like, when it comes to me, personally, I'm broke. I got nothing. But when it comes to other things, it looks like some good money's coming in. And that's the smart way to do things. Because if you get sued, if something happens, then, hey, that you don't get the, if they sue you, there's nothing that they can take at the end of the day. It's harder to sue companies than it is the person themselves. But that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, Ross, he's going to say what he wants to say. He's trolling sometimes, which I appreciate. Sometimes it's funny as fuck, man. Ross be trolling and it'd be hilarious. But yeah, that's my take on both the Ross and Drake thing and the Ross and 50 thing. So this is interesting. Live Nation and Ticketmaster have a monopoly over the live events and ticketing industry. So they've been exposed. Yesterday, April 15th, a jury found that Live Nation has been operating as a monopoly in the live events and ticketing industry. Per the New York Times, the verdict was reached after a trial that lasted over a month in New York federal court. The trial included testimony from high-ranking executives in the music and entertainment industries. Jury deliberation began on Friday. Following the verdict, Live Nation released a statement making it clear that the company is not ready to back down. The jury's verdict is not the last word on this matter. Pending motions will determine whether the liability and damages ruling stand. It begins. Live Nation will soon renew its motion for judgment as a matter of law, which the court deferred until after the jury returned its verdict. The motion addresses all liability theories. The court previously noted that Live Nation's motion raises serious issues. There's also a pending motion to strike the damages testimony on which the jury's award was based. The statement continues. The court deferred ruling on that motion as well, while noting significant concerns with the damages experts' analysis. Of course, Live Nation can and will appeal any unfavorable rulings on these motions. Injunction relief will be determined by the court after the states make a remedy proposal, which we expect in the coming weeks, Live Nation concludes. In the meantime, the Tunney Act proceedings regarding the DOJ settlement will continue. We remain confident that the ultimate outcome of the state's case will not be materially different than what is envisioned by the DOJ settlement. The verdict confirms countless music fans' long-held beliefs, but currently the implications of it remain to be seen. Judge Arun Subramanian will now hold a second trial, which will determine what the actual damages are. This includes whether or not the state's request to break up or make other structural changes to the company will be granted. For now, concert goers won't see any immediate relief in the long run. However, this could result in lower ticket prices for fans of hip-hop and beyond. So, there's always been, here's the thing, man, these companies, they always take advantage of the consumer in one way or another. And they blame it on other things when they can clearly afford to not charge somebody $100 a ticket. They can easily have it reduced to $70 and it wouldn't affect them one bit. You know, they actually did a study. They came up with a recent study. They studied like years after the wages increased in California. Did it affect prices of food and stuff like that? It didn't. It was like a measly 3%. It was such a small change that it didn't do anything. So these companies can afford to pay people proper wages. When a CEO gets bonuses of hundreds of millions of dollars, clearly that's our money. And here's the crazy thing. With this tariff things that just happened, they're issuing a refund to companies. They're not issuing a refund to us that got charged more for the product that we paid for. They're issuing a refund to the actual company. You think the company's going to refund us? Fuck no. They're going to keep that money. They're going to pocket it. So not only did they make money from us, the consumers, paying more for the product because of tariffs, but they also now are making money from the refunds. So they're double dipping. You know, it's fucked up, man. Like these companies, they just can't get enough. Like the one company that's going to have the most success right now is a company that announces they're reducing their prices. That's the company that's going to have major success. Because right now, every company is increasing their prices over bullshit. Stuff that doesn't make no sense. Netflix, increased price. This company, increased price. Right now, YouTube Premium just increased their prices. It's like every company's increased their prices. There's not a single company that says, you know what? We were charging too much for this. Let's reduce it. We reduced it like $2 this time for this month. Or not for this month, but for per month that you're paying. Like, it's insane, man. So there's no surprise here that Live Nation and Ticketmaster were doing bad things, where they were charging people extra money for no reason. So I hope, this goes through and everything follows through and actually prices go down, because there needs to be more of this, because these companies are taking advantage of people and it's getting out of fucking control. I'm at some points just losing my mind. I'm like, at what point, like how do they expect people to keep paying for this stuff over and over and over? It's insane. But yeah, we'll keep, updated and see what happens with this. Boosie says he's done with VladTV because there was a disagreement on pricing of what Boosie wanted for his interviews going forward. And Vlad has responded, and Vlad revealed what he was actually paying Boosie per sit down. So Boosie basically went on live and he said, hey, I'm going to do interviews by myself. I'm going to set them up myself. I'm going to do interviews myself. I don't need to be, on Vlad TV. I don't need to be on, any of the other platforms. I'll do it myself. And the reason why he revealed is because he wanted a $5,000 increase in pay of his interviews with Vlad, and Vlad said no. So Vlad has responded to it. And Vlad, basically without really playing the clip, because it's a 17-minute long clip of him talking about why, he didn't increase Boosie's fees, $5,000. He basically said, hey, Boosie brings in about 6 million views, 5 to 6 million views with his interviews. And he makes roughly $35,000 off that. Now, here's the thing that he didn't clarify. He should have said, hey, I make $35,000 net, or I make $35,000 in total. Like, he didn't reveal what he nets and what he doesn't. But he revealed that he pays Boosie $25,000 per sit down, which is insane pay. I would never pay an artist $25,000 to sit down with me. Now, as a reoccurring guest over time, and if I was making really, really good money, we would get there eventually. But Vlad's on a different level than me, so it's different prices, different stuff. But I know this well because I do YouTube content, so I know what you can get paid for X amount of views and this and that. And it's not all the same. There's a lot of factors into how, because right now what's trending is like, oh, Vlad, you only get paid $35,000 off 6 million views. That's not true. I've done 12 million views. I've done 5 million. I've done 4 million. I've done 7 million. I've done 8 million. I've done 1 million. And they're all different. I'm telling you right now, they're all different. It's crazy. Then we'll talk about that after this. But basically, Vlad broke it down and said, hey, he's getting 25,000. In total, I'm getting about 10,000 profit from the interviews. And he gets a bulk of the profit, which is more than generous, because for me, I would not give him any artist a bulk of the profit, because no platform does that. But YouTube gives you a bulk of the profit, but it's only like 10% more. So if we got into something and I, let's just say me and Buck were doing interviews consistently, let's just say he charged $2,000 to do an interview. I would give him whatever. Let's just say I made $5,000. I'd probably give him 2,000 or 2,500. Like there you go. We're splitting in half, or you're taking a little bit more. He'll probably get $3,000. I get $2,000 out of it, right? But the way Vlad broke it down, I just wish he would have explained like, hey, that 35,000 is that 10,000 is net. But he says, hey, I have to pay for flights. I have to pay for. I don't have a camera crew in Georgia, so I have to pay for them as well. And that's a huge, expense. And it is. I remember just doing these interviews. You have to pay for hotels. You got to pay to get there. You have to, and I'm not paying a camera crew. I'm doing it myself. But regardless, this all costs a lot of money. That's what these rappers don't realize. They think that, they're sitting down doing an interview and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars and money's always coming in. No, most interviews die out and they don't get watched anymore. Nobody gives a shit. Like, look at my Buck interview. It hasn't gotten any new views. It's getting nothing. It's dead. It's died out. And that's most interviews. It's rare that an interview is like steady bringing in views. My documentary is steady bringing views, but even that to a certain extent starts to die out, right? So that's the first thing. I think artists think that you consistently make money off these interviews. Like you're just banking in money and it's not like a hit song. It's not like, artists think that's a hit song or something like that. No, they die out. Usually within the first month, most YouTube videos die out. It's rare that they get pushed, and actually still thrive years and, months later, not even years, just months later. With that being said, if Vlad is only pocketing 10,000, getting a $5,000 increase, that means Vlad's only getting 5,000 out of it and Boosie's getting 30,000. But, there's a few other things that Vlad probably didn't mention, and that's revenue from other platforms. Like if he's getting money off Facebook from Boosie interviews, he hasn't calculated. Maybe he did. I don't know. His YouTube memberships, but you can't really calculate some of those things because sometimes it gets put into one. Like on X, you get paid off posts, but if Vlad were to post his Boosie interviews on X, it doesn't tell you directly, which post you're making money or how much you're making money off this post. On Facebook, it does. On TikTok, on some of the platforms, it does, but some of them it doesn't at all. So you don't know. So there are a lot of factors, but I felt like the way Vlad explained it, he's being more than fair. They're not beefing. It's not like a big deal, but being on the end of the content creator, it's more than fair. Because no disrespect to Boosie, but he's not. Most of his viral stuff that's happened the past 10 years has been his interviews with Vlad. It hasn't been his music. Like he hasn't been trending because of his music. It's because of the stuff he says in the Vlad interviews. And the stuff sometimes when he goes online, when he goes live on Instagram, sometimes that type of stuff, like the recent R. Kelly, Michael Jackson versus thing. But yeah, like dude, it is expensive, man. It is not easy to do this stuff. And Vlad is the one that fucked up the game. Vlad shot himself in the foot because he started paying his guests. Before that, people weren't getting paid to do interviews unless it was like a rare, like, when Charlie Sheen, appeared on ABC after the whole, Tiger Blood and all that crazy stuff he was doing. Like moments like that, yes, there are journalists that will pay to get that exclusive first. But 99% of the time, the person that's getting interviewed is not getting paid because it's a mutual benefit. They go there to promote whatever they got to promote. You're doing content. Both win. In today's time, it's looked at differently because everybody's a content creator and people are thinking YouTubers are filthy rich and that, like I didn't break even. The one I broke even on, actually I made profit on DT, made profit on Buck. I lost money on the Hot Rod interview. You'll take a gamble, you might lose. I felt like Hot Rod had insane stories, but we still got to re-upload some stuff. I think my YouTube channel in general was struggling, so I'm going to re-upload a lot of those. But yeah, you could take a hit and lose. But that's the reality situation. I think Vlad handled it perfectly. But on the side of the content creator, just know that we don't make insane money sometimes with this stuff. So when people are asking, and that's the thing, is they have this unrealistic expectations. I had a person charge me $3,000 to do an interview with them, and they haven't been hot since 2002. $3,000, and this person made the argument that he barely does interviews, so your interview would blow up if you did an interview with me. So that's why I'm charging $3,000. I was like, yeah, but I can't really gauge it off that. How can I tell? I could drop the interview and it flops, and I'm down the whole $3,000, which is a lot of money. So there's a lot of real unrealistic expectations from certain people when you ask to interview them. It's very unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. Vlad fucked up the game on that end, and I need to talk to him about that and tell him, like, bro, you shot yourself in the foot doing that. I don't mind paying a couple, $100 $100 or even $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000 for interviews. But 25 grand is astronomical. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, 25,000 is a lot of money, man. This isn't a major label company. This isn't like, it's not like you can put sponsorship deals in there. You can make money through other ways, but it's insane. But that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. All right, let's get into the Billboard Hot 100. And we got Choosing Texas, Ella Langley still at number 1. Men I Need, Olivia Dean, number 2. I Just Might, Bruno Mars, number 3. Ordinary, Alex Warren, number 4. Swim, BTS, number 5. So Easy, Olivia Dean, number 6. Golden Hunter, number 7. Be Her, Ella Langley, number 8. Stateside, Pink Panthers, number 9. And then Folded, Kalani, number 10. Let's go down the list to see where the baby record is at, because he's been climbing up the charts with that shit. Pop That Thing is at number 29. Highest peak he's had in a really long time. So pretty cool that. Ye and Travis Scott, Father, number 31. T.I. Let Him Know, number 33. This is climbing up the charts as well. Last week was at 34. So shout out to T.I. All the Love, Ye, number 37. What You Saying, Lil Uzi Vert, number 41. Boss Man D-Lo, Motion Party, number 44. Pooh Shiesty, FDO, re-entry at number 48 because of all the news. That's crazy. Going down the list, let's see. Anything hip-hop. Ye, Punch Drunk, number 71. Lil Baby Miss Trendsetter, number 73. That's climbing up. Ye, Whatever Works, number 78. Ye, King, number 79. Max B and French Montana, Ever Since You Left Me, number 83. That's climbing up as well. Ever Since You Left Me. More Cars, More Clothes. This, A Must, Ye, number 98. That's it for the Billboard Hot 100. Let's get into album sales. BTS is at number 1 with Air Ring, 126,000 sold. Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, number 2 with 79,000 sold. Ye, Bully, number 3 with 72,000 sold. Don Toliver, Octane, number 4 with 57,000 sold. Olivia Dean, The Art of Loving, number 5 with 50,000 sold. Luke Combs, The Way I Am, number 6 with 46,000 sold. Bad Bunny, number 7 with 43,000 sold. Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time, number 8 with 38,000 sold. Harry Styles, Kiss All the Disco Occasionally, number 9 with 37,000 sold. Bruno Mars, The Romantic, number 10 with 37,000 sold. Going down the list, Michael Jackson, number 1's at number 23 with 24,000 sold. Drake, Take Care, number 28 with 23,000 sold. Kanye West, Graduation, went up at number 34 with 20,000 sold. That's fucking insane for an album that came out in 2007. Cardi B, Am I the Drama, number 38 with 19,000 sold. Drake, Views, number 42 with 18,000 sold. And that is, I think, the Drake and Party Next Door album actually fell off the charts, at least in the top 50. That's crazy. Usually I always talk about it. But yeah, new music. Black and 2 Chainz dropped Sunday again. Quavo and, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, BNYX dropped Huncho Step. The Kid Laroi dropped I Condemn. Tyler dropped She Did It Again featuring Zara LaPression. 21 Lil Harold and Baby Drill dropped Spin. And then obviously the 50 Cent Fetty Wap record came out. And then the Tony Yayo 420 mixtape is out as well. So check out those new releases. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys for watching us, streaming us, all that. Stream us, Spotify, Deezer, Podcast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whatever business, and peace.